Desde el hondo cruzo de la patria se levanta el clamor popular, ya se anuncia la nueva alborada, todo Chile comienza a cantar, recordando el soldado valiente, cuyo ejemplo se hiciera inmortal. Enfrentemos primero la muerte, traicionar a la patria más. Venceremos, venceremos, mil cadenas habrá que romper. Venceremos, venceremos, al fascismo sabremos vencer. Venceremos, venceremos, mil cadenas habrá que romper. Venceremos, venceremos, al fascismo sabremos vencer. Campesinos, soldados y obreros, la mujer de la patria también, estudiantes, empleados, mineros, cumpliremos con nuestro deber, sembraremos la tierra de gloria, socialista será el porvenir, todos juntos haremos la historia, a cumplir, a cumplir, a cumplir. Venceremos, venceremos, mil cadenas habrá que romper. Venceremos, venceremos, al fascismo sabremos vencer. Venceremos, venceremos, mil cadenas habrá que romper. Venceremos, venceremos, al fascismo sabremos vencer.
Hello, and I just realized my camera is like probably down on the floor here. That's how together I am this evening. So hello, and actually this is going to be a little bit of a different stream because I just wanted to, it's kind of crazy the kind of stuff that. Oh, what happened here? Okay, it looks like my audio is going out. I may have to just bring this in a little bit closer so that my oh yeah, wow, that overpowered. Hopefully that didn't make anybody too. My audio is always screwed up on this, so hey, it is what it is. Let me just see here. Maybe it's not doing the proper audio input. It's from my microphone. Let's see. Do I have my? Let me see if it's any better through my headphone. Okay. Actually, it looks like I'm getting better peaks. So if anybody's watching, if they could tell me whether this is better than what we had before or it's worse, let me know. Because audio is my main. Actually, it seems like I'm getting pretty good peak. All right. So anyway, this morning I was informed. It looks like I'm going to have to turn down my audio a bit because it's I'm peaking a little bit too high. But anyway, this morning we learned that thanks to somebody who's played the game, and I was not aware of this, and it's probably been a situation since we launched because our launch was not all that grand, let's just say in retrospect. But that when you formed a clouder, and then when you unlocked another cat and went to that other cat or other cats, you could not interact with anything. That is a major. That's a game killer. So I put everything off to the side, and I worked my entire day on getting that fixed. And we just got it fixed. And so what I want to do here really quick. For some reason the mayor's home. We're gonna make a build while I just like relate fun stuff from the game developments. Some stuff keeps on coming up. When you're a game developer, you come up with when you're a doctor. I feel like JD from Scrubs. When you're a doctor, you come up against things you never thought you'd see before. By the way, I will say that I kind of liked Scrubs for a while, but I mean, I didn't get how they had to always make JD. Like, at one hand, he was an absolute nerd and an absolute loser and like a klutz, but on the other hand, he had an endless series of young, beautiful women that he was always, sleeping with. That's the sort of thing that just I just found that kind of incongruous. I understand they relaunched that series lately. Um, I don't know. I kind of like, you know, uh, and Laura and I were talking about this, and this is sort of, I mean, Scrubs and 30 Rock, and trust me, I'm going to get onto development stuff and talk about something, but they popularized and got us familiar with the concept that in the middle of like a piece of dialogue, they could just do a cutaway for about one or two lines to make a joke and then cut back. And if you had done that literally 10 years ago, people, no, no, I'm sorry. I'm getting old. Maybe 30 years ago, people would have been, why the heck are you doing this? It's so confusing. But anyway, before I got off on the whole thing, just comparing myself to Dr. John Dorian, let me see here. I was about to make the new building. I think everything. This has a fix to the problem of when we switch to a new cat, you can't interact with anything. That was again a game killer. But here's the thing: is I worked on it all day. All I have to do right now is I have to build. But the first thing we always do before we build is we go to our chunk, and we import them and export them because you never know if sometimes if there's a slight error in any one of these interiors, no, it's not an error, but a change, and you have not brought the chunk in and re-exported it, sometimes they do not, the entire interior is gone. We learned that the painful way back during the old days. Now, while I do this, I'm going to get back to the main subject of this tonight's lecture, shall we say, or conversation. Please talk to me in the chat, the few people who are here. I mean, this is a two-way conversation. That's something they understand over on Twitch, but they don't understand here on YouTube. This is a two-way conversation. Please talk to me if you're so inclined. But I wanted to mention something that came up recently, and it's something that I never had to deal with before. And it's just, one of those wacky things that you don't consider when you go into game development is that you're dealing with all kinds of people. Oh my goodness, what the heck happened here? My, like I said, sometimes these things get screwed up. For some reason, the fuel tank is not there. You have to open this up. See? Okay, that's very odd. That chunk is gone. I'm gonna have to do a quick reconcile with the server while we're talking. I'm gonna go ahead because really that fuel tank place is kind of important. It has a few fixes that we've going to bring in all the rest and export them. I got to figure out what's going on there. But one of the things. Oh, hello, lurking. Hello, Aviatrix. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for letting me know. Hopefully, my audio is okay. Aviatrix, is that your word? Your name, Aviatrix? Are you the pilot down in Mexico? The for the Air Force? We have a supporter of Peace Island, and his wife is a pilot in the Mexican Air Force. And if you did not know, the whole story of how the Mexican Air Force got to like have women included in their number is really good. It's a really fun story. But just wondering, if Aviatrix is that person because he wanted his wife mentioned in the game, and we did that. She has a poster inside the library. There's this one woman, and she loved doing parachute jumps. And her husband, was head of the Air Force. And at one point, the Air Force was like, women cannot do these sort of things. And he said, I think, basically, to do the Reader's Digest version, the short version, he said, no, I mean, he risked his job. And he said straight up, my wife has been on these. I know she can do these. She's, been doing these jumps with me for the last several years. And as a result, they said, oh, okay, well, golly gee, we were wrong. Yeah, women can be. But anyway, so anyway, you have to deal with the public in a way. There were times where people. I used to work in politics, if you don't know, on and off, inside and out. mostly, on the periphery. Hey, Heather. Hey, well, Heather Ackroyd, yeah. One of these days I'm going to tell you, the hints in that book that we wrote, the Taste of Lethe. There's some stuff in there that, I'm not a big fan of Gene Wolfe after, initially I was, but then I sort of like, I don't know, I fell out of love with him when I just got like a sense of what his thing was. But anyway, I used a lot of his techniques in writing that book, and it's a little bit deeper and a little bit more coherent than one would assume. But anyway, I was going back, back when I worked in politics, especially here in Portland, you know, people they were always asking at every Green Party meeting, anybody want to run for office? And the silence was pregnant, and I saw about three or four eyes going toward me. Here's my problem. When I moved up here to Maine, it's different, unlike many other places in the country, in that we are a small state with a small population. And I run into my state and sometimes my federal legislators just walking down the street. We just do. We get used to it. And I attended this one thing where it was a question and answers meeting. It had Ben Chipman, who I believe was a state rep, and now he's a state senator, and we had our state senator at the time. And you meet the average voters, and God bless them. These people were, for the most part, bless their souls. I mean, these were people they were ignoring, but they felt it. For the most part, you had a lot of people showing up and just, they obviously had no one to talk to, and they would just come in and ask the most stupid questions. And these politicians, they would be able to sit there and listen patiently and smile and nod and go, thank you so very much for that great question, Mr. or whatever. That touches on, and they pivot to something they wanted to talk about. I would be just like, God damn, it took you 10 minutes to ask that one question. I don't think I mean, goodness gracious, that was the most stupid question. You're asking us to get rid of our brick sidewalks here in Portland? Do you realize how important the brick side? I'm very sorry that your wheelchair sometimes has a bumpy ride on our brick sidewalks. If anything, I mean, you know what we'll do? I'm going to propose that we spend more time making sure that our brick sidewalks are steady. But you came in here asking us to remove our brick sidewalks because of you. The entire city doesn't revolve around you. Next question. So you can see, I would not be a very good politician. So now we've gone and we brought in all of these chunks, but we seem to have lost a very important chunk, which is odd because that's been in there for a while. So what we're going to do is we're first going to go over to our backup because I always have a backup. Laura, bless her soul, as I mean, she has done so many great things for this game. But the one thing that I mean that she has saved the game so many times through great backups, just redundant, good backups. And yeah, we've there have been at least four or five times where I thought the project was dead, and I didn't know how the hell we were going to bring it back. But thankfully, she had a backup. You know what I'm saying? And yeah. So it just goes to show that you cannot really, depend on these version control solutions. Sorry. Let me see. So we want to go to our Mac version. Um, yeah, Heather, I apologize. I'm going to get around to that. And if I haven't said that this on YouTube yet, our our release on Steam could not have gone worse. The only way it could have gone worse is if instead of Peace Island going up, it somehow got it created an app that deleted everybody's hard drive and replaced it with Nick Fuentes videos and photographs of elderly shirtless men. That is the only way that Peace Island's launch on Steam could have gone worse. So it's good that you haven't had a chance to play it in a few weeks. We have fixed so much, and we are fixing stuff as you see here right now to this very day. Now, you'll have to pardon me. I'm gonna go. Grandpa Eric's gonna go and grab another beverage and visit the restroom while this version of Unity is loading. While I'm away, I'm gonna put on a little bit of music while I'm away. Just maybe. Because here's the thing: is we have some lurkers who are going to report our videos if we have anything that's not public domain. They basically take on the job of Jeff Bezos used to have. Well, no, he does over on if you don't know Twitch, if you do anything but the approved list of music, they will mute your entire stream. And there are people here on YouTube who hate us so much they report us whenever we do something like this. So let me see. I'm just going to go for the International because that's a good socialist song. And yeah, we're gonna play that while I visit the restroom and Unity is loading here. In fact, I'm gonna, well, yeah, I'm gonna keep the screen up so you can see I'm not doing anything, but I'm gonna put my volume down so that you don't have to hear my voice. Let's see.
Stand up, all victims of oppression, for the tyrants fear your might. Don't cling so hard to your possessions, for you have nothing if you have no rights. Let racist ignorance be ended, for respect makes the empires fall. Freedom is merely privilege extended, unless enjoyed by one and all. So come brothers and sisters, for the struggle carries on. The Internationale unites the world in song. So comrades, come rally, for this is the time and place. The international ideal unites the human race. Let no one build walls to divide us, walls of hatred nor walls of stone. Come greet the dawn and stand beside us. We'll live together or we'll die alone. In our world poisoned by exploitation, those who have taken, they must give. And then the vanity of nations, we hope one earth on which to live. So brothers, sisters, for the struggle carries on. The Internationale unites the world in.
Okay, back to this. Uh, I didn't know that was a Billy Bragg version. Not the best. Oh my gosh, it's still loading. But anyway, I'll continue with my monologue as I will. Now, like I said, if you'll remember before I got on about 15 tangents, I was talking about, my relation to local politics. Um, and yeah, I just can't. Because it's just it takes all kinds to make this world, and some people I just can't. And here's the thing: is I did not realize that when you are releasing a game into the same, it's basically like running for office. You're going to deal with the exact same people. And this first hit me back in 2021, almost 5 years ago. Around this time, no, it was in the summer of 2021. You see, at that time, Stray had announced that it was going to be delayed by 6 months, which turned into a year. And by the way, I have no problem with the guys who made Stray. More cat games, the better. I have no problem with them. But what happened is they announced, Stray is going to be delayed by 6 months, and I posted on our Twitter at that time. We're off of Twitter now because it's been taken over by, oh God, the worst person, one of the worst people in the world. Um, Excuse me. Again, I'm not used to talking at length, so sometimes so But I posted that on Twitter that, hey, are you waiting for to play Stray but disappointed? It's going to be another 6 weeks. If you want to play a cat game, please consider giving $1 to our Patreon. Um, and I just gave our Patreon address. That's what the post was, literally. Stray is really, delayed for 6 months. If you want to play a cat game now, consider donating to our Patreon because we're making this cat game. Now, I did not know, but I learned the very next day that a certain individual on there, a member of the Vox Populi, read that, and they said, in their mind, they got this impression that we were saying, if you'll pardon my language, fuck Stray, don't buy it. Never play Stray, it's a piece of garbage. Give us all your money. Now, you see, there's a big difference between what you actually posted and what these individuals heard. Now, and here's the thing: I cannot be responsible for somebody unable or unwilling or to listen or hear or comprehend things that are plainly stated. Now, uh, like I said, I learned that somebody on Twitter had read that, and they thought that we were literally trashing the game Stray, which is again incorrect. We did not. And what they did is after we posted that on Twitter, here's what I imagine happened. Here, and I don't know this person, but here's what I imagine happened. They read our tweet and understand, unfortunately, here in the United States and around the world, it's almost people form parasocial relationships with companies, corporations. Like for some people wear literally corporate brands willingly because they identify so closely with that brand. Now, because Annapurna Interactive had created this like reputation as being this like humble little game studio, sort of like at Hallmark cards they used to I have this one thing called Shoebox Greetings. It was a tiny little personal corner of Hallmark, is how they put it, trying to personalize it. But the thing is Hallmark was a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Now, this individual, they had read that tweet that we put out. Let me just, I'm going to interiors here. Get our chunks. Utilities. Utilities chunk. Yeah, somehow we lost that scene. I do not know. But what we're going to do is we're going to find that scene here and bring that over to our main project. Now, like I said, this individual who had formed this sort of like parasocial relationship with Annapurna Interactive, and I'm wondering if are they even still in business anymore? From what I understand, they were so much interested in like being a movie company that they literally fired half of their game wing. Anyway, but this person genuinely felt that Annapurna cared about them, and they thought that we had dissed their brand uh, called Annapurna Interactive, which was a billion-dollar corporation whose CEO is worth $200 million. For some reason, this individual thought that they cared about Annapurna so much that Annapurna returned the favor, and they took it upon themselves after seeing that tweet. That tweet that just simply said again, "Hey, want to play a cat game now? Contribute to our Patreon. We're sending out alphas every couple of weeks." They read that and they said they again basically said, this guy's telling everybody that they should never play Stray and that Annapurna is horrible, even though we never said anything like that. So what I believe, and again, we're going to go back to my scenario that I believe this is what happened. They read that tweet that we did, and they felt so insulted. So they stomped off into their bedroom and they slammed their door behind them. And I mean, I know that I'm old, so my musical references are off. So I think what they did is they put on their headphones and cranked their Slipknot, and they literally, within the time, between the time that I put that tweet out and the very next morning, they wrote an encyclopedia. And the entire encyclopedia was, and this isn't, by the way, this isn't the scenario I made up. This is literally what happened. This person wrote an encyclopedia, and literally it was just basically, this guy's a meanie, this guy's a meanie, with words put into our mouths over and over and over. Now, I woke up the next morning. But oh yeah, by the way, when they wrote this, I can imagine, about 4 hours after they started, their mother goes up to their door and, honey, it's dinner time. Go away, mom. I'm busy. That's exactly. I'm imagining that's the scenario. And when I woke up the next morning and I went to our developer chat room, and everybody's like, somebody posted something on God, what was it? Tumblr about us, and it's so mean. And say, my first response was, Tumblr is still in business. People still use Tumblr. Uh, apparently it was, and it still is. Bless you, Tumblr. I understand it has its own, fan base and its own, culture, et cetera, et cetera. And so, hey, hopefully it's working out for everybody. But here's the thing: is again, I went on there, and this guy or I mean, a woman. I do not know. I do not know their gender, but I'm imagining it's a dude because I imagine very few women would be this insane. But no, that's sort of sexist on my part. Everybody has an equal chance of being. So moving on from that, let's see. So, I said, okay, and everybody, back at the time, Mike Sharanovsky and let me see, Mike Bonafide, especially Arjuna Gonzalez, Peter Bourgeois, was understand at this time. I did not know what was going on, but I learned very soon. These guys were doing everything they could to basically push me out of the project. And they use this. Eric did something freaking crazy. Look at what this guy posted on Tumblr. So I said again, I worked in politics. I know how to handle these things. So I went onto Tumblr and I made a Peace Island Tumblr account and I started posting stuff. Now here's what happened. Uh, that young man or whatever, apparently after he posted his great manifesto about how much of a meanie I was, he gained a few followers. We all across our social media, we were hacked from our YouTube to everywhere. Now, because here's the thing. Um, and having been, part of Anonymous's war against Scientology and seeing how 4chan sort of like acts, I know that at a certain point when these guys basically when they create these little raid armies, there is this rising level where people need to get clout. They come upon these like little fights, these little arguments, these little things, and they draw in a number of people. And what happens is again, people try and one up each other, one up each other, one up each other. And in this point, again, this guy had gotten a bunch of people in there believing that we were a bunch of meanies and we deserved having our stuff hacked. Uh, Once we found out, because these people were very sloppy in their hacking, that these people were originating from Tumblr, we got in touch with the Tumblr people and reported these channels. And wouldn't you know, all of these guys all of a sudden disappeared, and they're all of a sudden they're trolling and their hacking stopped. Now that was my first encounter with this sort of thing, and I mean, again, having seen this sort of thing happen with the whole 4chan culture during anonymous, the anonymous war against Scientology, I know that's these people's fatal flaw. is that when you get right down to it, these individuals really don't care about what they claim. It's all more about them, how much chaos they can cause. And I mean, what I'm trying to figure out is what was their end game? What did they think they would accomplish? And I'm thinking they thought that they'd be able to scuttle the Peace Island game project. Um, Unfortunately, like I said, all I needed to do is wait. Again, I knew how these people operate. I waited until they went one step too far, and then took advantage of, basically they ripped their shirts open and said, "Stab me in the heart right here," and I did so. Not literally, but I made sure that their shenanigans came to an end. Now we want to bring that interior. I'm going to get back to my narrative, but I just want to bring the scene in. All right, so let's bring it chunks. And this sort of thing happened in politics as well, and that's why, but to a much lesser extent, because strangely enough, people in politics tend to comport themselves a little bit more maturely than your average, internet denizen. It's just strange. Politicians, etc. The public is another thing entirely. Now, I will say, like I was mentioning earlier, that the release of Peace Island was, I mean, straight up a disaster. It could have all been avoided again if had Laura and I done a little bit more testing. But hey, here's the thing: is that what's done is done, and we're working as hard as we can on getting things fixed. Now, make sure that we have chunks set full so we can chunk. Eh? That's odd. I just brought that over. No, give me a moment here. No, there we go. Hmm. Yeah, fuel tank's chunk. There it is, right there. Springs. Maybe it's not connecting for station. Let's see. But anyway, um, like I said, the release of our game, but we've been working on doing our best. Now, here is the problem, though. Um, I've been honest about this on pretty much all of our social media, I believe. Um, as I said, the launch of Peace Island did not go well, and also, um, the 28th of February, if you're not aware, is the day that the United States of America decided to bomb an Iranian school and kill 170 girls. And that put my day off to a great start. Uh, Also, keep in mind that we had made the mistake, and I realize it's a mistake. Now, I'm pretty sure you've heard about those like lists of woke games. I really like. I mean, I like. It's something that is one of my bad shortcomings. Is I like if I see like a gaggle of idiots being idiotic together and being proud of their idiocy, I like going and just poking it. Now, when somebody, we about 6 months, no, about a couple of years ago, we started, whenever we heard about one of these people, starting a list of woke games, we would submit our game to it because we wanted to save them time. Our game is definitely woke. If you don't know that, it has reading, it has female characters, it has not no combat, et cetera, et cetera. It has everything that they hate, especially the reading and the main characters. But anyway, I did not know. I mean, we were always rejected. They said we were trolling them, but really, our object every time was to say, we're trying to save you time. Come on, get us on your list. I mean, I don't want you have to go through all the trouble of having to play the game, determine whether it's woke or not. Trust me, it's woke. Put us on your list. Now, I didn't know every time we were trolling them. We were definitely trolling them. We were. Um, they, one or two of those people that followed those lists would gravitate, look us up, and they'd lurk on our Discord or our other social media. And boy, oh boy, um, Uh, if you're not aware, this like podcaster was killed in September of last year here in the United States, and I mean, most Americans had never heard of him. I think his name recognition was around 30% among the American population. But after he was murdered on some school campus somewhere, the United States, the vice president of the United States and the president were basically instituting state mandated mourning. We were being told that we had to mourn, and that if anybody else was not mourning, was not shedding enough tears and rending their clothes enough, we were supposed to report them. That struck me as an American. Trust me, I'm 55 years old and I'm not the biggest proud to be an American guy, but that struck me as anti American. The only place that we have state mandated mourning is places like North Korea. So I had absolutely no interest in that. And yeah, sure enough, when those people for those right wing, game lists saw me posting on our Discord, I find it you can go and see it on there. I have not erased it. That really got under their skin. Oh my goodness. They saw somebody not only not, joining in on this mandated public mourning for this podcaster that, quite frankly, I had only heard about from a South Park episode. Um, my good, they determined that this was going to be, they were going to have their revenge. Now, this will play into the story later. You're going, how do you know this? Trust me, this will go into the story later. Um, I just want to make sure that we. Oh no, no, no! It's not Namaste. We're looking at. There. There we go. Sometimes the path, you see that highlighted all of a sudden? Just make sure that the prefab is there. The prefab is not there. We gotta do something about that. So we're gonna export that sucker. It's like somehow we lost that, so we can just go in there. So anyway, we have that brings us sort of like to the day that we released our game. We had um, again on that day. Um, we found out the United States had been basically shoved into a war because our the guy who lives in the White House the Israelis have video and photos of him raping little children, and because of that, they were able to force him into um, setting the United States in a war against Iran. And one of our first acts was killing again almost 200 young children, which didn't put me in a bad mood. And when I found out how bad, the release was, that again, on top of everything else, I was like, oh my goodness. Oi, 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 my face. Um, and Then um, you had some people who were coming onto our Discord and on our Reddit, and I could tell that these were the Charlie Kirk fans descending because what they would do is they would come on with a list of complaints, but the problem is their list of complaints, each one was exactly the same in the exact sequential order. So these people had created a basically a textbook in marching orders to harass here's the I have no problem with legitimate criticism. And sure enough, there was a hell of a lot of legitimate criticism from what we released. But what was happening on our Discord and on our Reddit was only one part of what was happening across all of our social media. These people had descended. And just like back at that time, that person on, what was it? That social media website that nobody uses. It starts with a T, Tumblr. Um, what had happened was among these Charlie Kirk fans, who, I mean, if you don't know, I mean, there's a lot about Charlie Kirk that they can't even know. Strange how I know more about Charlie Kirk than they. Anyway, yeah, look at this. We don't have chunk inside. That's so. See. Sorry, you're gonna have to pardon me while I'm looking at this because I have to look at the individual scene. It looks like maybe it's not referring to the proper chunk. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, here it is. So why is it not? Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm going to continue my narration about that whole thing. Well, here's the thing: is that you don't try and I mean, understand. I knew they were once. In retrospect, it took me a couple of days. And here's the thing: is I'm going to get to the denouement. Is like I said, back during when that stuff was happening on Tumblr, there was this escalation where they were like, "Oh, I sent him bad emails. Oh, I went into a social media and did this. Oh, I hacked into it." And it was just again this weird frenzy that happens sometimes when these groups get together. And what happened is that um, about 48 hours. I mean, I'm unclear. I'd have to go back and review it, but about 48 hours after the game was released on Steam, the people on these right wing forums had gotten to the point where I mean, trust me, if you had seen me, the state that I was in, I had almost been trolled to death at that point. I mean, these guys, successful trolls, were successful up to that point. But here's the thing: they made a fatal mistake. As always, as I have seen in the anonymous fight against Scientology, as I saw in that Tumblr episode, and I've seen so many times before. There was a one-upmanship in two young men, one in their mid-30s and one in their early 20s, um, decided that the way to really own us and to get more clout among their group was to send us death threats. Now, here's the thing. I don't know what they thought. Would have to actually, even though they got in trouble with the law, and we're going to go into that in a minute. I want to thank those people to a certain small extent because understand when I worked in politics, I used to get death threats all the time. Death threats are easy to deal with. And when these people sent us those death threats, I mean, it sort of snapped me back to reality. So, okay, I know how to deal with this. And within 48 hours, I mean, those people had to do a lot of growing up over the next 48 hours. Do I feel sorry? No, because they were idiots. They used their real email addresses in sending those threats. I was able to find, and these two people were part of that Charlie Kirk forum, one of those Charlie Kirk forums. Now, uh, once we got that taken care of, I mean, like I said, I mean, getting death threats. I mean, to an average person, I think that's probably unusual. But again, if you work in politics, even in this country, you just it's like, oh yeah. Back when I ran a political website that was opposed to the Iraq War, I used to get them every week. I just did. And it just was what it was. I mean, I wasn't like I was a Klansman or anything. All I did was post. I was against the Iraq war in Iraq. That is it, and that led to death threats. But anyway, I'm getting off on tangents here. Um, Once those two people were taken care of, I announced it on our Reddit because that's where basically this was the locus where it all really boiled out first. I posted straight up. This is what happens. This is what has happened to two of these people. Um, Again, and here's the thing: their information was sent to the FBI. These people are going to have FBI files that are going to follow them through the rest of their lives. Their lives are going to be just a little bit more difficult because of a stupid thing that they did because they wanted to get clout. Because they felt that being getting all rowdy was going to get them, something. Here's the problem. Uh, well, no, I think I laid out the problem there. I don't need to lay it out any further. They had a problem there, uh, and I mean I've been watching this guy John Kiriakou. He's a former CIA agent, and he's like, I mean, well, listening to him, he's like, he got death threat. He gets death threats as much as I used to. And whenever he gets one from somebody who's stupid enough to use their own number, he calls them back and goes, "Listen, jackass, do you know what you did? Do you know what you did?" And 9 times out of 10, they're like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was just drunk and I was watching Fox News and blah, blah, blah. Please don't." No. In my case, no, I play hardball. You mess with me. I play hardball. Because, like I said on our Discord last night, you can screw with me all you want. I'm nobody. But if you're screwing with my project, and people who work on the project, you're not only threatening me, you're threatening everybody on the project. You're threatening everybody that has supported this project since day one back in 2017. I am not going to put up with that. You are going to pay a price. And I swear to goodness, even if I don't know what happened to those two individuals, maybe the cops came over to their houses and their parents were called out and going, "Your son did this," and they got a slap on the wrist. But again, they had to do a hell of a lot of growing up over those few hours, and they ain't going to be doing anything like that anymore. So what I did in reporting those people was a public service. So let me see. I need to collect my thoughts. So that is where we found ourselves at the end. Once I posted on our Reddit, this is what happened, and I said this kind of stuff has gone on far enough. It has to stop now, and because somebody has to be a parent, somebody has to be a grown up, and the kids had had enough fun. They just needed to stop and understand because again I've been in these sort of like these like troll attacks, these mob attacks on websites and social, and I know at a certain time things get out of control and think people, "Oh, I'm just playing." No, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's like going to a gun range and just pointing a gun at your own head and thinking, "Oh, I'm just playing." No, don't do that. So anyway, again, it was a public. Now, I'm going to bring this back to where I am right now and what has been happening over the last couple of days. And I'm pretty sure, I'm hoping the individual in question is watching this. I really do. Here's the thing: is Grandpa Eric needs to step away for another moment while he uses the restroom, and when I get back, we're gonna wrap this whole like monologue up. And I would rather build without OBS Studio running because OBS really uses a lot of system resources. It just does. And I want this build up and out as soon as possible because people can't play. I mean, they can't interact with the world after they go to another cap. That's unacceptable. Game killer. Got to get that up. But like I said, I'm going to step away. I'm going to be right back. Okay, so let's just see here. I think it's still not going to. Not know why it's not bringing the fuel tanks. I know. Does it not have? No, he said no. The prefab is there. When we import it, okay, there it is. Okay, there it is. Very good. Um. Oh, I see. It is way off. Okay, you see, there it is. The actual prefab is not on the XYZ. I have to make sure that that is hooked up correct. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish up this whole like narrative really quick now, because again, like I said, I don't want to build with OBS running. Now, we are at a problem. I'm sorry. We're in a situation now where we have repaired 90% of what was wrong with Peace Island. Excuse me. Oh, all the raw garlic I eat. I gotta stop doing that. I'm sorry. It tastes so delicious, but it does a number on my belchy. But anyway, um, now I believe I've gone over all of this and what I have said on our social media. That, yes, during you know that time after the 28th, when I was being targeted across all of our social media, all of my email and everything with crap from right wing extremists and such. And trust me, and I'm not saying that all criticism about the game was right wing extremists. There was a lot of people that had legitimate complaints. And if you go over to our Steam page, you will notice that I have responded to people who wrote negative reviews, thanking them, offering them a free key, and say, "Listen, we want to help us make the game better. We know there are bugs. We know there are problems. we are trying to fix them, and we do that every day. That's I mean, the moment I get up every morning, I have some goal I want to do. And if you go over to our Discord now, you'll notice this one user. He came on and he came to me and he pointed out that the sun was still overpowered. I thought I had that fixed, and also the cats jumped. Sometimes when they aim jumped, they would go right through the walls. I I thanked him. I mean, I thanked him numerous times, and I said, I hope you don't think I'm glazing you, but you helped us make the game better. You saw stuff that we could not see. We want, I mean, we want constructive negative reviews, but but if somebody is just coming on there because they're part of the Charlie Kirk fan club, or taking part of like the raid on us across all of our social media those days. Um, I'm sorry, we have no sympathy for you, and we are going to treat you with as much dis, dis, disgust or whatever, with as much disrespect as you show us. I mean, when you come to us with a list that obviously you cribbed off of other people and you never even played the game at all, we're not going to pay attention to you. If you come to us and just say, your game is shit, it's horrible, it's garbage, we're not going to pay attention to you. But if you come to us and say, this needs to be fixed. This needs to be fixed. That we're there. We are there 100%, and we have been there. We've taken care of 90% of what had happened on that day. And I'm sorry. What was the issues that were there after our initial release? Now, I will say that yes. Again, I will circle back to what I said, earlier. I could have handled things a little bit better, but I think unless you've developed a game and worked on it for so many years and had such a disastrous release, you don't know, and literally have legions of like crazy Charlie Kirk fans who don't even know what Charlie Kirk said attacking you from all over. You're gonna be a little bit. You're not gonna be at your best. I'm sorry, I scratched at my forehead there. It looks like I may be bleeding a little bit there. You'll have to forgive me. Uh, let's see here. I got a chamois. Oh, speaking of which, I recommend The Day the World Blew Up. It's the Daffy Duck and Porky Pig movie. I started watching it last night and I was like, entertaining. I felt happy watching that. But anyway, to go back to that, um, we have addressed 90% of the problems that were on the game's release. And I have admitted, on our Discord and other places that yes, that day I was not at my best. But here's the thing, do you know that I've worked on this game every day for over 2,900 days? I think I put it in our Discord. Let me see. I figured it out. Let me see. 2,921 days. And that's just the 8 years that I've worked on it. Probably right now it's well over 3,000. Now, um, there are some people, and like I said, I'm hoping that one person is watching me right now. They seem to be trying to continue the dog pile that was occurring during our initial release that was instigated by the Charlie Kirk fan. They seem to be trying to continue this based on one day, something that I said my short temper on one day out of over 3,000 days. This individual got in touch with me last night, and I hope they're watching. They got in touch with me last night, and with this list of accusations, all of them were absolutely ludicrous. And the person, I think they consider themselves somewhat of a journalist, maybe. Um, and when I first read their email, it was the most insulting thing I had ever seen. I mean, it was as if somebody had written to me, acting like a reporter, saying, "We have reports of you defecating on the street and performing back alley abortions using a blowtorch and a pair of pliers. What do you have to say about these facts?" Now, after getting this email, I was curious, who in the hell is this individual? And I looked them up. They have a YouTube channel, and they created an entire YouTube video about that one day out of the 3,000 plus days that I have worked on this game and some things that I have said. Now, they did not consult us or write any interview questions before doing their first video. They just produced whatever it is. I mean, I just saw it. I didn't even bother watching it because, well, we'll get. Maybe I'll mention that right before I leave. Um, quite frankly, I don't give a shit. If somebody's lying about me, I don't give a shit. Because here's the thing, and again, I hope that person who's created that video and who sent us that email full of insults is watching right now. And this is a message to you, video creator. You could create these videos if you want, but understand, number one, you're going to have a hard time building your narrative on one day of stuff that I said when I was admittedly upset. And if you do try, and here's the thing, like I said in their email last, I did not mention in their email last night. Apparently, they have been communicating with the scammers that did everything they could to destroy Peace Island. And I'm wondering, why did this person go through all of this trouble to create one video without consulting us, and then seeking out the scammers that messed with us and did everything they could to destroy this project? Um, this person is trying to create a hobby out of trying to vilify our project because of one evening out of 3,000. And when they ran out of information in their first video about that one evening, again, they sought out scammers that I made the mistake of hiring, who did everything they could to destroy the project. This individual went to them and came to us with a bunch of accusations that those individuals falsely made. Now, far be it from me to dictate someone's path in life, but this individual, and I'm hoping they're watching this. They are trying to perpetuate a narrative that was birthed on far right neo-Nazi boards based on a few things that I said. And trust me, I've not deleted them off of our Discord. You can see them. Yes, I was upset and everything, but let me tell you, if this person's never been upset in their life and said things that they regret, oh my goodness, I didn't know that I was talking to Jesus Christ. Because honest to goodness, I guarantee you that person has done that in their life. Now, here's the thing: is I just want to close with this: is that um, maybe this individual feels that really, really special because I'm taking my time out of my evening before I build here to describe what their little thing is. And let me tell you, if this gives you joy, if this is the highest point in your life, if this gives you purpose to perpetuate a neo-Nazi narrative based on one day out of 3,000 days that I have worked nonstop on this project, I feel sorry for you. I genuinely do. I mean, I think I sent you. I mean, if I have, I am going to respond to your most recent email later on. Here's the thing: is if, and I hope you are watching. Um, I have a feeling, via, Intellius, I can find out where you live. And not that I'm going to dox you, but I'm going to send you the address of your local post office. Because, you see, if you go there, you can get into stamp collecting. That's a good hobby. It doesn't matter what gender, age, sexual identification. It's a good hobby. It is far, far better than spending your time perpetuating a neo-Nazi narrative based on a few statements I made during one of the most stressful times of my life. So, I think I said everything I need to. You know, if this person was a Patreon supporter, they might have been. I'm willing to give them every bit of penny money back. Not that I'm giving them get go away money. I'm just like, I I feel sorry. Gal, it's a gal. Gal, I feel sorry for you. I mean, as Bill Hicks said, I mean, if you feel that bad about yourself, that this is the only way that you can find purpose, maybe try eating a fruit cup, getting a little bit of exercise, you know? So anyway, um, what is it? Um, that's all I have to really say. So, and I asked to sort of do this video also because um, this individual really, uh, again, I faced this sort of thing before, and it never goes anywhere. Um, it's like, what are they going to do? Is their goal to literally destroy the project, and we're just going to stop? I'm just going to stop working. I mean, again, that is going to be my point to you. I mean, and again, not to the viewers, but to the person that I know is watching this, who said, who's done these videos and has done who is trying to find some purpose in their life. I mean, I'm not religious, but maybe they could try church or something. I mean, there's obviously something really heavily missing. And again, here's the thing: is they can continue making their videos. They can continue trying to perpetuate perpetuate this neo-Nazi narrative and continue to just broadcast stuff that was written on one day out of 3,000 days that I've worked on this project. But hey, that's on you, gal. And to everybody else, I just want to end this because really, this is the way I should end it. To everybody else, understand that despite our horrible, I mean, admittedly horrible release, we were 38% positive on Steam. And now we're up to 46 positive on Steam. I think in about a couple of weeks, we're going to be above 50. And about a couple of weeks beyond that, we're going to be above 60%. Because despite, I mean, this person, I mean, circling back to this poor individual, they are not going to succeed if this is their new hobby. Again, stamp collecting. That's what you got to do, gal. So if anybody else understands, if anybody else is, well, for everybody else, I'm gonna cut this short. I'm gonna make sure that this um, interior is hooked up properly and the cats get there, and then I'm gonna build. And either by tomorrow morning or tomorrow and today tomorrow, we're gonna have a fix for the interaction problem for all cats. I'm going to leave. I've been talking, and I'm not even looking. You probably have nobody watching right now. But before I go, I would like to ask if anybody has any questions, comments, or criticism. I'm going to step away into the other room, and if any, just for a couple of minutes, and please ask me any questions, comments in the chat. That's what I'm here for. And after this, again, I need to build. I think I'm going to play about a half hour of RimWorld after this. And by the way, for the first time in my one of my RimWorld colonies, there was a birth. A woman, she was pregnant, and she gave birth. We have a new colonist in my RimWorld. Anyway, yeah, this is the time for me to shut up and leave for a minute. And if you have any questions, comments, or criticism, or any suggestions for how we can make Peace Island better, let me know. All right? I'll be right back. All right. It seems. I mean, I don't know how long the save file start a new game. I can't collect boy, and Susie is still invisible. Tell you what, Heather, I'll take a look at it. You may want to start a new game. A lot of stuff has changed. I'm sorry for going through the having to go through that intro quest again, the mission, but it is what it is. Sorry. And yeah, yeah. Here's the thing: is Heather says, well, she says, appreciate how available I am. Well, again, this has been my life's work for the last 8 years. This has been the thing I think about since the moment I wake up until the moment I go to bed. It's what I work on from the moment I get up until I go to bed. Um, and I don't know. I'm just wondering again, to circle back, as that hated phrase goes. I mean, I'm wondering what this individual's end game is. Do they think they're going to be able to shame me? I'm going to create so many videos about one day in this guy's life. He's going to quit the game. He's just going to turn his back on all of his Patreon supporters, all of his, the people who are following his game and just give up. Because you know why? Because I'm creating these videos about what I just, you know, um, again, that young lady, if you're watching this, and I have a feeling you're younger than me, being 55, um, local post office, stamp collecting, either that, or if you live near the coastline, sea glass. I understand some people are into train spotting. If you're into, I mean, in Great Britain, it's bigger than here, but you might be able to get into that. Here's the thing: anything is better than spending your time perpetuating a controversy that was ginned up on far right websites. Uh, and I check yourself before you wreck yourself, young lady, is all I can say. And I say that from the bottom of my heart with the most care and love for you. All right. And I mean that for everybody out there. Care and love for everybody. I wish no one bad. Well, no. Again, Mike Sharanovsky, or who now identifies as Amy Elizabeth Sharanovsky, Brett Dunham, and Mike Bonafide. I wish them nothing. If you do not know, in Jewish, we Gentiles are told that Jewish people do not believe in hell. Yes, in Jew, there is no particular hell, but there is perpetual punishment. Uh, in fact, there is a very popular um, character in Western Christian Western Christianity who was born in a manger and died on a cross. And if you will ask certain very orthodox rabbis, they will say, "Oh, that guy, he's literally been boiling in a pot full of shit for ever since he died, and he will be for eternity." And it's just, uh, yeah, that's I wouldn't wish that on anybody. I don't want. But those three people, I think boiling in a pot of shit, not for eternity, but for, I would say, as many months as they fucked with us. And pardon my French for you. And if again the young ladies those videos are watching this, feel free to use that. Yes, I do advocate for those three scammers to be boiling in shit for about 2 years. And with that, we'll end. Take care, and Mom, if you're watching, love ya. Night night.